Hey, what's happening? This is Xavier Smith, man. Back with episode number 2 of the PERC podcast. That's I.R.C, Prison Industrial Recidivism Complex show. You feel me? And this episode topic I wanted to be about recidivism. You feel me? Recidivism instead of rehabilitation and reintegration. And I'm gonna explain to y'all what I mean by that. You feel me? Like I said, like the first episode I gave y'all the statistics on how many Americans have either been incarcerated or still incarcerated, and you know what I'm saying, the families involved. You feel me? Like 9 times out of 10, you got a direct family member or friend and so forth or whatever who's being in prison, dog. So it affects all of us. This shit is serious. So recidivism, the definition of recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to repeat or reoffend. You know what I mean? In simple words, you feel me? It's they classify criminals, the U.S. government, scientists, psychologists, and all that. They classify criminals as in the same way that you would classify a sick or mentally ill person. You know what I mean? And like maybe like an alcoholic who is supposed to be clean and sober, and he resorts back to alcohol. That's what they, you know what I'm saying? That's a term for it. Recidivism, for someone who turns back to criminal behavior. And we're going to talk about a couple of the reasons for it. So I got it separated into a couple of different sections. The first one is while in prison. The second one is once home. You know what I mean? And I got statistics on all that stuff too, you feel me? So while in prison, if you don't know, if you ain't never been through it or had nobody going through it, they make the visitation process extremely strenuous. You feel me? Like, first of all, to visit someone in prison, you have to be a direct family member of that person. You feel me? And you know what I'm saying? And or married to them, or you feel me? Like your mother, your father. Like my brothers and sisters could see me. You feel me? But like my cousins, you know what I'm saying? I had cousins writing me. I had loved ones who I grew up with writing me, community leaders and stuff like that writing me, but they could never come see me. And it's when you think about it. I don't know if anybody or everybody can imagine it, but think about it. If the only contact you have with another human being is writing through letters, you feel me? You trying to express yourself and they're trying to express themselves to you and get through to you. And the only communication and contact you got with that person is through written paper or over the telephone. After a while of being locked up for so long, like my last prison bid, I did 6.5 years in prison. I did over 6.5 years, but you know what I'm saying? We're going to round it off to 6.5. Like, at a certain point, you start to question whether you're really talking to yourself or not. Like, think about being in prison behind walls, like behind gates and wired and electric fences. Like, that's a reality. You start to question your own sanity. Who am I really talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, in that 6.5 year bid I did, I think it was like 5 years before I got to see my wife, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I married this woman. She held me down. She was writing me. We was talking on the phone every day. You know what I mean? And she told me the same thing. Like, she thought she was going crazy too. You feel me? As far as you know what I'm saying, losing touch with reality. Like, yo, is she really like battling with herself right now? Is this person on the phone even real? You know what I mean? Like, and it might sound strange, but you're in a cell every single day, the size of a parking spot. You know what I'm saying? Smaller than a parking spot. really, So, but then your other half, if you got somebody, a mom, an old lady, a boyfriend, whatever, a brother or sister, that's keeping in contact with you and holding you down while you in them walls, you really starting to go crazy. Like, and they are too. Like, they out here dealing with a whole nother reality, the real world, and everyday struggles. And you're on prison time. That's what they call it in there. That's what we call it in there. Prison time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you thinking about prison related issues that's not related to the real world. You know? For example, you eat breakfast in there at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and dinner, third child is what we call it, is no later than 4 o'clock. You feel me? So from 6 to 4, you know what I'm saying? You can eat first child breakfast, second child lunch, and third child dinner between 6 and 4. So between 4 o'clock and 6, you're not eating shit, dog. You feel me? So you hitting your people up for canteen money, you know what I'm saying, commissary money, and you know what I'm saying, like, they not thinking about that. They thinking how they gonna pay the bills and shit. You feel me? And that's the reality of it. People who, the reality of it is, most of the people who are in prison aren't there for fun. It might not be right, but whatever they did to go to prison, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? You got like weird motherfuckers like child molesters and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And this ain't the podcast for y'all. I don't fuck with none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Sex offenders, any of that stuff, you feel me? But like, I'm talking about the majority, I'm gonna do some statistics on that too. But majority of crimes that people are locked up for are economical crimes. You know what I mean? Robbery, you feel me? You robbing somebody because you broke, dog. You feel me? It's not right. We ain't gonna say it's right. I ain't gonna justify that shit, you feel me? But you know what I'm saying? It's somewhere in your mind, you was so broke that you justified taking it from someone else, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? It ain't like people rob people for fun. Motherfuckers need money out here, you feel me? And murder. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times murder is committed from an emotional standpoint. But at the same time, we know North Carolina has a gang problem, you feel me? Like, gangs are deep down here, you know what I'm saying? Drug dealing and shit like that, you feel me? Like, you ain't, for the most part, ain't nobody murdering nobody for fun or for free, you feel me? You doing it because they get in the way of your money, you feel me? They violating you, y'all beefing over money, you know what I'm saying? You got cats out here who beef over women and stuff like that too, but I can't relate, so I can't talk about that. But you know what I'm saying? And then the drug-related crimes, I got the statistics on the drug-related crimes. We'll get into that earlier, you feel me? You know, later. But yeah, like, yeah, man, people ain't selling drugs for fun, man. That shit's not fun. That shit is scary as hell, looking over your shoulder every day, worried about the police, worried about if this motherfucker you selling to is an undercover or goddamn snitching. If he get caught, is he gonna tell on you, your partner telling on you because he don't want to do that time. If he get caught with that pack, y'all getting, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? So these are economical crimes is my point. People are broke, and the people that are in prison are poor. So they can't always send money to their relatives or loved ones that's locked down in prison. They can't always spend the gas money that it takes. North Carolina has 100 counties. You know what I'm saying? North Carolina has the most jails and prisons of any other state in the United States. That's a fact. Y'all can look that up. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And I'll look up some more shit on that. You feel me? And break down the statistics to y'all. But that's a fact, though. North Carolina has the most state prisons, whether public or private, and we got the most county jails, shit like that, or whatever, you feel me? We have one of the highest recidivism rates in the United States too. You feel me? But yeah, like they locking poor people up, man. That's the reality of it. They locking poor people up. Poor people can't always give they people canteen money. Drive 3.5, 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Cross from state to state, from one end of North Carolina to the other, is anywhere from, you know what I'm saying, depending on where you at. Hopefully you in the middle, but if you're not in the middle, then it's anywhere from freaking 3 to 5, 6 hours. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it, dog. Everybody ain't got that gas money to be spending every week to keep they loved one that's on the lot safe. You feel me? And sane. Phone calls, man. All all this is on the subject of recidivism. If I gotta pay, say I got a brother, I got a few brothers that's locked down right now. If I gotta pay $1.50 to $3 every time one of them want to call me and speak to me, you feel me? Like, that's rough, dog. That's rough. That shit adds up, man. You know what I'm saying? And then you got mothers, the people who raise these guys, you feel me, breaking their back and breaking their neck and they bank to provide this money so they can talk to their sons or sisters or daughters or brothers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not adding up. So you going long periods of time in prison, behind cell walls with other criminals, with other guys who think sick and fucked up. You know what I'm saying? With prison rules and establishments and shit that has been going on before you ever was born. You know what I mean? It's a whole nother world in there. It's a whole nother society. And you going days and weeks and months without talking to your significant other or your mother or your siblings. You know what I mean? It's that it's not a good thing. It doesn't add up to a productive citizen coming home. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point. It's the opposite. It's recidivism. You know what I mean? So you got the phone companies, you got the actual contractors, the builders who building the prisons in North Carolina. Like I said, North Carolina got the most state prisons in any other state and jails. You feel me? All you know what I'm saying? Everything from the trays that we eat off from to the food, our jumpsuits, the medical care, the restraints, handcuffs, straight jackets. You feel me? They put masks over you so you can't spit on officers. Shit like that. All that shit is outsourced. It's contracted. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if anybody know about litigation and politics and so forth. You feel me? But somebody is paying to get that contract. People ain't just looking up and getting that contract. People are paying, and they're contributing to political funds, to political campaigns. This person gets in office and they split the booty straight up like that. That politician supports more prisons. Donald Trump bitch ass. You know what I mean? Supports more prisons, and they get they cut off of, you know what I'm saying, the contracts and all that shit or whatever, you feel me, through political donations and stuff for. Yeah, and then another thing, when you in prison, you gotta prisons have their own rules and guidelines and procedures aside from state and or federal law. You know what I mean? So what I mean by that is okay, so my sentence, for example, my sentence was 6.5 to 9.5 years. I could come home in no more, or I could come home in no less than 6.5 years and no more than 9.5 years. But for something as simple, I could get rolled up for reckless eyeballing. If a officer, a prison guard, said that I stared them down, or was looking at them too long, or some shit like that, or whatever. You feel me? That shit could add another year to my sentence. Something small like that. You having too many books or pencils or pieces, or literally, I'm not gonna lie to you. If you have too many pieces of paper, too many books, too many pairs of shoes, you know what I mean? If you have too many commissary items, soups, chips, freaking vegetables, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever they sell in commissary. If you have too many of any type of item in there, or if they're placed wrong, your bed's not made up, stuff like that, it can literally add another year to your sentence, man. I know people in there who committed, you know what I'm saying, one violation, and it's done added years and years to their sentence. Like, they're still not home over simple violations when they're really supposed to be home. And all this does, when you have someone, if you indoctrinating these people as inmates, prisoners, as mental health patients, bro, or addicts, you saying, as a psychologist, as the U.S. government and all that, the experts, they're saying that a criminal is mentally unfit. You know what I'm saying? They're saying that you're an addict to criminality in itself. They're saying you're not stable. You feel me? So somebody who couldn't follow the rules in the free world, you put them in a human warehouse and you add more rules to them. It just doesn't make sense how that would rehabilitate a person. Only thing it does, when someone, for a simple offense, like I said, having too many books or anything like that in their room, can add a year or more to their sentence, it doesn't make sense how that would do anything else but breed more distaste and discomfort for authority. You're not helping to build a productive citizen. And then another thing I got on here, when you in prison, I can't speak about other states. I only did time in North Carolina State Prison, NCDOC, you feel me? But you don't have any real education programs in there. Like, I was in I was trying everything. I had 6.5 years. I was bored. I didn't have nothing else to do but get in trouble. So I signed up for, they have a UNC program, UNC Chapel Hill program in North Carolina State Prison, where you can take a class at a time. You know what I'm saying? But that's only if you don't have more. You can't have murder, and then you can't have you got to be like 5 years within your release date. You know what I'm saying? So within 5 years, you can't take a class per semester and get a degree. You can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't, dog. You feel me? And so they do have like trade programs, like carpentry. I think like 1 or 2 camps have auto mechanics courses. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna give you the statistics on it, because I ain't gonna tell anybody something I don't know. You got the woodworking, you got the auto mechanics, you got plumbing. You know what I'm saying? You got trade programs in there, but you got to think it's probably freaking 50 at the most, 50 legitimate trade programs in there, and then you have millions of inmates. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not getting that education, dog. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like with the rules and procedures in there, once you get a write-up for anything, like I said, as small as having too many pencils or too many pairs of shoes in your cell, then you are automatically disqualified from these education and trade programs. You know what I'm saying? For another, you know what I'm saying, either year to 3 years, 5 years, or whatever. That's how it goes in there. So, and it's proven. I got the statistics right here. Hold up. It's proven that education programs in prison has shown to reduce recidivism chances by 45%. That's a fact. That's a stat, bro. You feel me? And this is according to the North Carolina Justice Center. You know what I'm saying? That's their shit. That's what they putting down as data. You feel me? So that's what it is. The last thing I want to talk about, when you doing time in prison, one thing that helps, that's going to encourage recidivism when you're in prison, is the constant paranoia that you have to deal with in prison. And I'm not talking about just from other prisoners, not just from other criminals. You got COs, correctional officers, who hate niggas, who gangbang. You got correctional officers who just hate. They are indoctrinated to the thought that every single person in there is not only guilty, but deserves to die, don't even deserve to live. You literally have people who think like this. You know what I'm saying? The conservative type, you feel me? So constantly, and like I'm saying, it's just breeding more lack of respect and trust for authority. And that's not what we want. And if you're trying to rehabilitate prisoners back into the real world, because 9 times out of 10 you have a release date. You're coming home at some point. North Carolina's a death state penalty, so everybody ain't coming home. You got people on death row, and you got people with life, triple life, shit like that in prison. You know what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10 you have a release date, even if it's 20, 40 years. You're coming home one day, and the goal should be to rehabilitate. But when we're in there during that time, we're constantly paranoid and concerned about the water we're drinking, the food we're eating. Every single North Carolina State prison has their own water treatment facility. You feel me? If the correctional officers hate you and think all you criminal motherfuckers need to die, need to get your head chopped off, need to get hung, then why would you be comfortable with them treating your water and drinking that water? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but it makes perfect sense to me. Okay. And then, like, I've worked in the kitchen. At some point, if you've done enough time in prison, then you're going to end up working in the kitchen, and you can see the meats and the vegetables and whatever else they got coming in, and you will see the expiration dates on those. They're getting deals. They get deals, cheaper prices on expired foods, and they have inmates, prisoners eating basically spoiled and poisonous foods. And that's affecting reality too. Like, people can believe it or look it up yourself if you want to. It doesn't matter, but that's a reality. So once you come home after all that shit, the traumatic experience of constantly being paranoid of other prisoners and the prison guards and the system in general, the rules and procedures that are set up to keep you in there as long as possible, the financial strain that you have already put on your family and your loved ones, you know what I'm saying, whether it's commissary, phone calls, the visitation process, and all that stuff, or whatever. The traumatic experience of not seeing any of your loved ones and family members or whatever. Like now you have you're in prison and you have replaced your family members, the love you had with your family members, siblings, mothers, you know what I'm saying, your wife or husband or boyfriend or girlfriend, with criminals that you met in fucking prison, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the reality of it. You met these niggas in prison, you feel me? But you ain't got nobody else, so you ain't never seen these guys a day in your life, you feel me? But now you start to relate to them and understand them and understand the prison and criminal mentality that's festering in there, you feel me? After all this, they send you home. They send you home. Immediately, you have parole and probation fees. And it may differ or whatever, you feel me? It may differ from state to state. But immediately, when you get home, you owe these motherfuckers. And you need to be paying. You need to be paying, because they will lock your ass up for that shit. Immediately, when you come home, you have restitution fees. You have to not only pay these people to harass you, come to your house, treat your people like shit. You know what I'm saying? Come to your job. Let your employer know that you have a pass and a record, and treat them like shit too. You have restitution fees. You have to pay for the crime that you committed, the value of the crime that you committed according to the court. What you don't have is immediate jobs. The parole office, probation office, none of that can get you a job, dog. None of it. They not even trying. They don't give a fuck how you pay that shit. You better pay that shit. And that's real shit, dog. Like, they ain't helping niggas get no job. They can recommend you to some places, a temp agency here, or the NC Works type bullshit or whatever, you feel me? Them people ain't trying to get you no job. At least no job where you can pay that restitution plus probation fees and your bills at the same time, and be a man, a human being, you feel me, to where you can provide for your family and stuff like that. It's not happening, man. Some people come home with a good support system, family, you know what I'm saying, but usually that's once most of the times, 9 times out of 10, that's when a person is either innocent or they haven't been locked down that long. Guys who've been locked down 5 years or more, you done lost everything. Nothing is the same when you come home. Technology isn't the same. Your mom isn't the same. You know what I'm saying? Your parents or your siblings are grown now. They, you know what I'm saying? I miss I never got to see my brothers play sports. You feel me? I never got to see my sisters grow up and start dating. I never got to be the jealous big brother who could who got to check their boyfriends and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not even to mention your children. Hopefully you don't have no children when you go in there. You missing all that though. Okay. Work release. Work release is something where once you're under 5 years, once you have less than 5 years of your prison sentence to do, you can they have certain jobs that contract with prisons. You can work for that job as an inmate, as a prisoner. You can work for that job, make money. The prison is going to charge you a certain amount for bunk fees. They make you pay for your bed. They make you pay for the travel to and forth from the job, and your clothes, your food, and stuff like that. Or they're making you paying for all that shit. You feel me? So they gonna take that shit out your check, and then you get a stipend to where you can spend $40 a week or so. You know what I'm saying? I think it went up to $50 recently. So they give you that stipend. You can spend $40 to $50 a week. They charge you out of your check before you even get it for living expenses, and then the rest whatever's left over, they'll put in the savings for you. But that's for prisoners who got less than 5 years, and you can't have had a write up, which I told you you got exactly, I believe, a 100. You have exactly 100 rules and procedures that you have to follow within the prison system outside of state and federal law. This is just within North Carolina State Prison. You have to follow all these procedures, and if you get any type of write-ups or violations, then you can't get work release. You know what I'm saying? If you have a certain type of violent crime, you can't get work release, and so forth like that. So everybody doesn't get to get it, but everyone should, and this is why. It allows individuals to begin reintegration into society. You haven't been with free human beings. You haven't been with people who don't think like a fucking inmate thinks for however long you've been locked up. You've been in prison, dog, in a human warehouse where people are depressed and miserable and ready to kill at the wrong look, dog. You know what I'm saying? Where you think the COs, the prison guards, are trying to kill you for anything and nothing just because they have a certain ideology where they don't like you. And you can't send someone home from that type of environment into a free society and think society or that person is going to be okay. It's unrealistic. It's unrealistic. Another reason is it allows individuals to come home with support funds instead of empty pockets. And like I said, 9 times out of 10, the crimes committed in the United States and North Carolina State prison system, judicial system, are economic crimes. They're economic, man. They're crimes that poor people do because they're fucking poor and broke. You need that money. You beefing with that side because you trying to get money. So you do whatever you did. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. Most of it is economic crimes, possessions, and drug abuse, and drug selling. You know what I mean? Trafficking. It's all economic crimes. And also is like I said before, I'm gonna repeat myself, but it's just not sending people home with a criminal mindset, dog. Like if everyone can get work release, or you know what I'm saying, whether it's in their community that they specifically harmed or going back to, or not. As long as they're going back out into society with regular working people, you know what I mean? They're getting some sense and touch back with reality, which everyone doesn't get. And that's real, that's needed. Most people going home is going back to the same city, side of town, or circumstances that bred the criminal ideology in the first place. They don't want to talk about that shit though, man. You know what I'm saying? People ain't going in for fun. And then lastly, they don't do you have a few programs or whatever, you feel me, like anger management and shit like that. But like I said, just like with the education programs, it's far spread and it's way underfunded and way underutilized. They don't have any type of trauma counseling to help and or teach releasees how to process having been in prison, which is traumatic itself, dog. That shit is traumatic, just being inside them walls, not to mention what you done seen while you was in there. You feel me? And we about to wrap this up, but I'm gonna give you statistics on it. Okay, so according to the North Carolina Justice Center, North Carolina's 3-year recidivism rate is 40%. So that means 4 out of 10 people to get released is going back. within 3 years. All right. I already said education programs in prison shown to reduce recidivism chances by 45%. Another proven way, these are the 4 proven ways to reduce recidivism. Trust building with authorities. You feel me? So this goes from the officers, detectives, the judge, the DA, the prison staff, county staff, the sheriff's office, whatever. The probation parole officer. If United States is a country, or if it's a corporation, either way, there's no reason why individuals should look at someone like they're less, man. People make mistakes. People do fucked up shit, bro. Like I don't wish prison on my worst enemies, dog. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that know me know I done took some losses out here, bro. You know what I'm saying? My family done took some losses. You feel me? Like, I don't wish prison on nobody, man. You feel me? Like, nah. It's bad in there, dog. It ain't nothing good, man. It ain't nothing good at all. But you gotta, but when the criminal justice system hates us, and we already obviously have a problem with authority by committing the crimes in the first place, it just isn't any good combating offenders for goddamn what they already did. They already locked up. They already doing their time, dog. What the fuck can you do to them? Okay, so in addition to that, every prisoner should immediately get an early assessment of their risks. What triggers this person? What triggered that person to commit that crime? If you ain't trying to understand, if you ain't trying to communicate, then and not only their risks but their needs too. What were they after committing this crime? You feel me? And this is the thing. You can say, oh, that motherfucker committed that crime. He killed that person. He robbed that person. He sold that drug. He stole that shit or whatever. You feel me? He shouldn't have did that. He need to be in there. Okay, fine and dandy. But what happens when this motherfucker comes home? You feel me? We are all putting ourselves at risk and others at risk when we don't try to rehabilitate a motherfucker who's locked up, bro, who did whatever they did to get locked up, bro. You gotta try to rehabilitate motherfuckers, and that comes from finding out what triggers them and what their needs are, dog. What are they looking for? What are they trying to get out of life, man? What made them make this decision? If you ain't trying to understand that, then you saying, okay, let this motherfucker go. He did his time. Let him go, and then let him go out here and hurt somebody else. It doesn't make sense. You don't give a fuck about your community, your society, dog. You know what I'm saying? We got to tighten up. All of us, every single one of the government got to tighten up, and us as individuals have to tighten up. Straight up. And then, lastly, improving substance abuse treatment. You feel me? Like I said, you got substance abuse treatment programs in prison, but like I said, just like with everything else, they're far in between. With you know what I'm saying, just like the education and the counseling and shit like that, like behavioral programs or whatever. You feel me? Substance abuse is real. These are the statistics on substance abuse. 1.8 million arrests for drugs in the United States every year. 489,000 drunkenness arrests and 1.4 million driving under the influence arrests in the United States every year, dog. You know what I'm saying? Average. You feel me? So think about, if you're not trying to rehabilitate these people who are impulsive, they got criminal and addictive mindsets. All you care about is them serving their time and getting out. Nah, bro, you got to put that work in. You got to put that work in, man. Help them people. Pay that money, bro. You already locking the shit. United States has the most inmates in any other country. That's a fact. The highest recidivism rates as well. So that's a fact too. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to put in the work and goddamn help people get better. That's what it's about, man. Recidivism instead of rehabilitation and reintegration. I feel like every prisoner, everybody who done committed a crime, served their time in whatever community, I feel like we all should have a chance at work release in that specific community, town, or neighborhood that we committed that crime in. Community service, dog. You got to give back, you know what I'm saying? You got to reintegrate. And I feel like it should all be love, too. Because everybody make mistakes. Can't nobody on here tell me, ain't nobody listening can tell me that they ain't never did nothing. They could have landed them in that criminal justice system, and that's real. Recidivism affects everyone involved, the offender, the family, the victim and their family, the community overall, and us motherfucking taxpayers, dog. Hey, peace. This is the end of the episode. Love. Check out my book, Living in Prison, by Xavier Smith, on Amazon, Kindle. Love.